sure to check out Agelessgeeks for your figures and collectibles. This video and YouTube channel is rated PG-13, so that means this channel is not for anyone under the age of 13. So what is going on, my fellow collectors? How is everybody doing today? Daredevil18 here, and today in this video we will be doing another quick look review, and this time it will be of the Bandai Dragon Star Series Dragon Ball Super Final Form cooler. So as you can see right here, he does come in the basic style box. The Dragon Star figures do come in there. We have the window, the warning, blah 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 stuff at the top. We do get a cool image of cooler on the side, nothing on the other side. The back here does show the other figures in Series 15 and in Series 16 here. So let's get this figure open, take a closer detailed look, but first, let's look at the accessories he is included with. Alright, so here is Cooler out of the packaging here, and all he's included with is 2 sets of hands. So we do have the fists, which do come on the figure out of the packaging, of course. And then we do get a pair of like open type hands that kind of have like a clenching look to it. And you can see they did paint the fingernails black, which turned out pretty good actually. But the hands I think look fine on the figure. I'm glad that they did at least include another pair of hands instead of just giving us the figure just like this, you know what I mean? So that is all the accessories included with Cooler. Now let's take a look at the detail here, and this is a $20 figure. This is like the Marvel Legends versions of Dragon Ball figures, so it's not going to be like SH Figuarts, but he will fit in pretty well with SH Figuarts because he has no shading on him at all, which a decent amount of SH Figuarts do not either. So he will fit in pretty good, plus he does have a decent amount of height to him, which we'll go over next. But for a $20 figure, I think the detail turned out pretty good. The muscle definition is sculpted pretty well, and then I like on the white parts here, you could see the tiny sculpted lines like right in between here, around over here, up on the shoulder piece, even up on the head as well around this purple piece. I do like the way those look. There's even some right there, up over here. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it definitely brings more life to this figure, you know what I mean, and makes him look more accurate, like how he did in the movies there. And the head sculpt looks great. This is my favorite version of Cooler. He is one of my all-time favorite Dragon Ball Z characters. I love the red eyes right there. We do get that mouth or face plate right there, which looks dope. See his ears sculpted on the side. Then we do get the horn pieces, which look pretty damn cool as well. So the head sculpt definitely looks dope. The neck looks pretty good. The torso looks pretty good. Nothing really is painted besides this piece and the black and red for the eyes right there, and then the pieces on the arms and the legs as well. But the arms turned out pretty good. We get those spikes or horn pieces on them as well. Same with a couple horn pieces on the back, and we do get all those sculpted lines on the white piece as well, which looks dope. That looks pretty damn cool. And then we do have his tail, which looks alright, has a decent amount of articulation to it, which is pretty cool. And then the legs, we do get some nice sculpt work all throughout it. The knee joints look pretty good, and then the lower legs. The white part does have those sculpted lines to it, and all the metallic purple paint that is painted on there is painted really damn clean, man. So really nice job with that. And then we do get the feet there with the toenails painted black, which are painted pretty clean as well. So overall, I think for a $20 figure, the detail turned out pretty good. Not much paint on it. I wish they would have added shading or something, but I know they're not known for putting shading on their figures. But overall, for what I spent for this figure, I am pretty satisfied with how it turned out. Now, let's go over the height and some height comparisons quickly. Alrighty, so now for the height of Final Form Cooler. To the very top of his head, it looks like he's just shy of 7 inches tall. And then to the very top of his horns, it looks like he's close to 7 inches and 3/4 of an inch tall. So he definitely does have some height to him. Now let's take a look at him compared to some SH Figuarts Dragon Ball figures. And here is Cooler compared to a few SH Figuarts Dragon Ball figures. So we do have the 2.0 Vegeta, the Saiyan raised on Earth, Son Goku, and both forms of his brother. So we do have the Resurrection F Final Form Frieza, and then we do have the Dragon Ball World Tour event Golden Frieza. And I think this Cooler scales really well so far with the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball line. Now let's take a look at a few more figures compared with Cooler here. And here he is also compared to the SH Figuarts Premium Color Edition Perfect Cell Super Boo, Jiren, and the Saiyan Armor version Broly, and I still think he scales pretty well with the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball line. Now let me show you Cooler compared to a few more figures, then we'll move on to the articulation. And finally, here he is compared to the Figurized Standard Model Kit Super Saiyan Blue Goku, the Marvel Legends Retro Series Deadpool, the SH Figuarts Awakened Warrior Super Saiyan Goku, and the SH Figuarts Madara Uchiha. So there is some comparisons with Final Form Cooler. Now let's move on to the articulation and wrap this review up. Alright, so now for Cooler's articulation. He really does not have the best movement, which is the reason why I don't really buy this line too much, but there is no Final Form Cooler figure out there, and this one did look okay for a $20 figure. So we do have two joints at the neck. I'm just going to show you the articulation with both of them. So with both joints, you can get him to look up. Not at all. He just looks straight ahead, so that is a bit disappointing. Both joints looking down. He does look down a tiny bit, which isn't bad, but just really bad forward and back movement with both the neck joints there. Then you do get pivot at the upper neck. The lower neck joint does not pivot. Very minimal pivot there, and then it does swivel at the upper neck, and I believe it slightly swivels at the lower neck as well. So really bad movement at both those neck joints there, so pretty disappointed with that articulation there. Then we do get a torso joint here, and it goes forward not at all, so that sucks. But it does go back a tiny bit, so that's not too bad. Then we do get pretty good pivot at that joint actually, so I do like the pivot there, and then of course it does swivel. Now for the arms here, we do have a shoulder joint there that can move forward and back and up and down a little bit, so you can kind of move the arm just a little bit in a circular motion, but doesn't give too much range there. But the arms do go out to the sides a lot more than 90 degrees, so that is definitely good. They do go up and down. The more you go up, the shoulder piece is going to make the arm go outward. Really not that big of a deal though. And then we do get bicep swivel, double jointed elbows that, whoops, bend in 90 degrees. The joint at the elbow looks really bad though, but a lot of SH Figuarts figures have that same type of elbow joint. Then the hands here, or the wrists, do have a ball hinge. I like that they do that, so it does swivel and then it hinges back and forth. Then the tail is also articulated, so we do have a ball hinge there, so it can swivel there, and it also swivels, I believe, where it connects into the body, and then it also does hinge back and forth, and then we do get a swivel midway about through the tail. So I do like how they did make the tail a little articulated there. Definitely cool. Now the legs here, we do have drop down leg joints. Whoa, that joint's pretty tight. Not that tight actually. And Cooler kicks forward 90 degrees, which is definitely good enough. Doesn't really go to the back, as you can see there. I can't really get it to go back. There we go, I got it to go back a little bit. So it goes back about 45 degrees, which is pretty good. Then let's see if he can Jean-Claude Van Damme it here, and holy crap, he almost can. So the leg movement really isn't too bad with Cooler. Then we do get a hip swivel, which works pretty good. Wow, it kind of scares me the way that ball peg is when you try to articulate it. Be careful with those hip joints there. Then we do have a double jointed knee, and that bends back about 90 degrees, which isn't bad. And then we do have a ball hinge on the ankles, so it does swivel, hinges up about that much, hinges down about that much. Then you can get pivot, you just gotta get the ball hinge to go side to side, and then you could get a tiny bit of an ankle pivot. Not the best though. But anyway, that is my quick look review at the Bandai Dragon Star series Final Form Cooler. Hope you enjoyed it. This figure is pretty cool. Definitely not one of my favorites in my collection. I mean, it's a $20 figure. You can't really expect too much, but you look at other figure companies that are $20 figures, Marvel Legends, NECA, McFarlane, and you see more detail work into those figures. They definitely could have added paint shading, you know what I mean? I feel like that would have made the sculpt of the figure stand out a little bit better and just made it look a bit better on your shelf. The sculpt, I think, turned out pretty fine. Whatever's painted is painted really clean, man, so the paintwork is definitely not an issue with the figure. So the detail definitely isn't bad, just would have preferred some shading or something, you know, just to make the figure stand out a little bit more. The accessories, I mean, I'm fine with. I don't know what else they could have included, maybe some more open hands or something like that to just give you more display options, or maybe even a blast effect. I don't know if they even give blast effects with their figures, but yeah, they could have included another set of hands or something like that. But I mean, for it being a bigger figure, I understand that we just got one extra set of hands. And the articulation, really not happy with it too much, man. They could have worked in the articulation much better. The neck joints are horrible. The torso joint really doesn't even move forward. Those hip joints are a bit tight and kind of scary to move around. The wrist joints kind of have a looseness to this swivel, which is kind of odd. But some points of the articulation was handled pretty good, man. But they definitely need to work on their articulation a lot more. But overall, it's really not a bad figure. Definitely happy to have some sort of 6-inch scale cooler figure in my collection now. I don't know what the hell is taking Tamashii Nations so long to give us a freaking Final Form cooler. It's kind of getting ridiculous and kind of getting annoyed with it. Same with not getting a Bardock. I just don't understand what they're doing over there sometimes. But yeah, this cooler definitely looks pretty cool on display. And like I said, it's not a bad figure for $20. It could have been a little bit better, yeah, but definitely not a bad figure. But if you would like to support the channel, don't forget to subscribe and click on that notification bell. And if you liked it, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, oh well, I guess you didn't like it. But thanks for watching. I will see you later. But anyway, that is my review of the Bandai Dragon Star Series 16 Final Form Frieza. I mean, cooler, god damn it.